Welcome back to the Hishaku Hideout, a weekly podcast where we talk about the latest chapter and everything Kagurabachi. I'm here with Dice.
Yo, yo.
And today we're getting into chapter 74, Kagurabachi. Now, Samura got two chapters left. Remember that. He is on scene, but we'll get to talking about that. First, we see my boy Yura aura farming, in the first page. But what I want to know is, how did Samura convince the Kamunabi about what happened to those two guys dying?
Who? The two guys?
Yeah, they sent those guards and then they don't come back with Samura. He's like, oh yeah, I got away from the Hishaku. I don't know. I'd be questioning that motherfucker if I noticed my two guards, the two people I sent for him, died.
Yeah, and even if you were nah, don't worry, I killed him. It's yeah, where's the body? No, and I was gonna say they could always be oh, it's it's Samura, better not fuck with him. But nah, we know that Yoda looking dude can probably do whatever he wants. So, but yeah, that's probably neither here nor there. That is funny to bring up, and you're right. Yura wastes absolutely no time with the aura farming.
And he also brought three people with him.
Yeah.
There are three more outside. Basically, Yura's telling him, look, you don't cooperate, we'll kill you. But
straight up,
this is going to happen again, and you're going to want to join, Those flowers are still blooming on Shikoku.
Yeah, just the whole idea, the fact that he says, one, that he wants to, undo the malediction that apparently is still going on. Or by then, I would be led to believe that still it's still going on, despite the fact that the island was sealed. So I thought that was kind of a very, very interesting to bring up. It's got me thinking we're definitely going to Shikoku in this series later on. I'm starting to think
the issue started on Shikoku and the series ends, or the last battle ends on Shikoku.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. I mean, like you said, the flowers are still blooming as a result of the swordsman bloodlust never having waned after the war, which is also something really important to keep in mind. And dude, in that same panel, or not, important to keep in mind, but also important the fact that it was revealed to us in this chapter. And that panel specifically, where we get that bit of information, we can see his eyes probably as clear as we've ever been able to see them. Probably other than that one panel we saw pretty recently when the Seitei War, the whole truth was revealed. And once again, we're able to see how much his eyes look like Yura's, dude.
Yep.
Which is damn, it's definitely got me just thinking now.
It's either Hokuzono's laying it on so thick to basically have people expecting it. And I heard that and I had to rehear what I said. But I do think that's he's putting it to the everyone's expectations that they're related in a sense based on the eye connection, so that way he could subvert it later. He's basically doing a red herring here. The eye thing could just be a different kind of connection. Could be nothing. Nothing too. But we'll have to wait and see. And he does talk, Yura does bring up the true realm. Every time the true realm is brought up, it's we know the true realm is important to your connection to the sword. And Kunishige understood the true realm the best, or had the deepest connection with it. Yura, it's almost I got the feeling that Yura, he wants to alter the true realm of the Shinoichi now. Maybe he has a deep fondness for Kunishige too. But kind of how Sojo revered Kunishige, maybe Yura does too.
Way to honor them.
Or he reveres Kunishige's work more than Kunishige, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, that kind of goes more or less with what I was gonna, ask you is do you think? Because I know what I think, but do you think Yura's being 100% honest and transparent with what he's saying in regards to his sole goal being to undo the malediction? Do we really believe that?
No, I don't believe him, because I stand on my original thought of him. He's basically playing a game. He's finessing everybody.
Yeah.
And he's finessing everybody to get to the point where he can wield the Shinoichi, and then he can release his own malediction on Japan. That's what a true like final villain like would be like.
Exactly.
But Hokazono's like subverted expectations. It does make me wonder like what's his plan for Yura. I think it's gonna be something like I'm really excited, dude. Like it's been a while since I've been so excited for a villain, and I know not to. I know to throttle my expectations because I'm not gonna let one character's like the handling and execution of one character determine the entire story for me. Obviously, but I think Yura is like his story is the thing I'm like most invested in right now.
Yeah, and you're I'm like 99.99% sure that like you're correct in the fact that Hokazono probably most definitely has something up his sleeve in regards to Yura that will be unexpected. Like I do believe that. But he's a villain of a shonen story, through and through. And I think I think there's definitely going to be more villainous aspects that we still haven't seen. I mean, we barely know the guy, right? So that only makes sense. Another thing that I did kind of want to talk about that is, it goes hand in hand with what we are talking about in terms of Yura's motivations is the fact that it's, once again, it's done like a throwaway line. It seems that like Hokazono does this a lot with like important information that just seems to be just thrown out there like nonchalantly. And the fact that, correct me if I missed something earlier in the story, but is this the first time that we've seen like the true realm, which has been a concept mostly explained like in terms of like an idea? I mean, we saw it in like between Sojo and Chihiro. That might just be a personal theory, but I've always thought that like that conversation that took place between them wasn't the true realm. Other than that, like that theory aside, we saw what Sojo tap into true realm. Like we saw what that looks like. The Swordmaster popped that shit like a domain, it looks like, because the flowers, we're told in this chapter, are made of pure spirit energy. And that just completely caught me by surprise. Maybe like I'm the only one, because once again, like the true realm this whole time has been explored more as like a theoretical concept, and we haven't really seen to what extent it's like manifested, how it's supposed to look like, how we're supposed to really visualize it every time it's mentioned. And so I think this now really adds to that and starts I think what is it, like giving the true realm a bit of a shape of what that is and what that can look like, maybe depending on the sorcerer, once again the enchanted blade, the spirit energy. And so yeah, to me that was just, once again, just very interesting, like to keep in mind and just look at and be like scratching my chin,
Yeah. I think the true realm is like a concept of like deep, it's not a tangible thing, and it's more of a visualization and like synchronizing deeper with your sword. But like to like how Sojo and Chihiro, they reached the true realm, or just they kind of like scraped the very beginning of the understanding of the true realm.
Yeah, I always thought, just real quick, I always thought like and I think I said this in my Sojo video, like them talking in that space was like a result of them like both tapping into the true realm at the same time. That's what I thought.
I agree.
That's what I thought that was, that phenomena,
Yeah, I agree with like them talking, with them synchronizing with the sword, and gave them their own understanding of each other as they clash swords, like them talking to each other through the true realm.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's just gonna be pictured like that. Like I think, we're gonna see Chihiro enter it again,
soon.
And as this chapter left off, he may be able to finally talk to Samura away from everything.
Ooh, in the true realm.
There's no fighting there. It's just them reaching a deeper understanding of each other. And what do we know about Chihiro? He honors people's resolve. He accepts people's challenges head on, and he acknowledges them by, giving him his all. He replies in full. He doesn't half-ass it. He did it with Tenri. He does it, he did it for Hakuri. That's why he did what he did at the end of the chapter for Yori. He acknowledged her feelings, and he said, no, like, no matter what happens, like, I'm going to give you that time to, you're going to see him.
Yeah. And like, now you got me really thinking, and I think I'll leave like the rest of the true realm conversation for like the theories part of the video towards the end, because now I got some like now I got some thoughts in regards to Shikoku, the true realm, and what sort of things we can see, there. So I do want to kind of move it along in the chapter a little bit, because I think an answer that at least I was looking for, and I've been bringing this up for a couple of episodes now, is like, what are the sins of the other bearers? Like this whole time I've been convinced that their hands were not as bloody as the Swordmaster, because we know he just went crazy. But to me, there was something more that we still didn't know about the sword bearers. And I think this chapter kind of shuts the door on that, because I think what we're seeing here, and what was already implied for, a large portion of the story, it's like I was in denial, really. But what's clearly painted here is the fact that the sins of the other sword bearer rests on the fact that they haven't killed the swordsman. It's not enough
for
to
their
take
own life.
Yeah, exactly. It's not enough to kind of seal him away, shove everything under the rug, and all that. It's he has to be killed, right? And from that point, like, I think we're starting to see the scope really focus in on Yura and the swordsman as like the big villains of the story, especially the master swordsman.
Yeah. To your point, Yura sees it as, y'all feel guilty about what happened. He deserves to be executed, but y'all aren't executing him because you would also die. So you value your life over 200,000.
Yes.
In general, like, that is definitely would leave a bad taste in anyone's mouth.
Facts.
Like, looking at Samura, his characterization has been great. What he's done, he's still an antagonist. He's a good guy, but he gotta die.
He gotta die. I don't know what to expect at this point. Like I said, I'll leave theories for later, but there's, this could go so many number of ways in regards to, like, the whole thing with the swordsman, because what if Yura's just bullshitting in regards to wanting to kill the swordsman? I doubt it, right? Like, I think, like you said,
Yura might be a puppet.
Exactly. Like, it could be all sorts of things in regards to, he might be playing right into the swordsman's hands, like the master swordsman hands. We don't know that.
The Hishaku,
Mm-hmm.
the Hishaku dude was the first person we see from the Hishaku. Like, actually, in very early in the chapter,
he looks like the betrayal.
He
type.
could be the mastermind, because in all the the important parts, or any like pertinent information we got on the Hishaku, he was there. He was the one there fighting Samura. So it's just he's always been there, but like there's not much light shed on him. He was the one, I believe, picked up the Datenseki weapons from Sojo's place before it blew up. We see Hishaku teleporting behind Shiba.
Oh.
Playing it cool, chilling, but we can deal with that later. We can move forward, because we know this is where they make the deal. And then we see Yori.
She lived 3 years after leaving Samura. She lives for 3 years, like you told me,
which makes sense in timeline too.
So, and then 6 months after Kunishige is killed, Masumi pull up.
It does make me feel so bad for Yori, because she still has this like resolve. She's a strong-willed character. She had good memories before the seal happened. It was cooking with her dad, running with her dad, her mom. I got to see my mother's last smile because she's Samura's daughter. And then just that little note, like, I'm sorry I caused you nothing but pain, Dad. It's like, bro, put a I love you in there at least. Fuck, Samura. It makes me feel so bad for Yori.
So downer, yeah, such a downer with the tears, like the tears on the paper. You catch that?
Yeah, and it's like, man, she definitely deserved better.
Yeah, I mean, she spent as much time, if I got the timeline correctly, she spent as much time yearning to have her father back after he went away, compared to like the time she spent sealed. It's 3 years, give or take, in both scenarios. Like, not that makes a big difference, but what I'm trying to say is, like, those feelings are very like present in her. It's not like it's been a decade, and that's why I think it makes such a big difference that she was sealed like such a long time after Samura went away.
Yeah, because she had 2.5 years basically of being sealed.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about Yori already, so we could just kind of proceed. We see her like the awakening of her eyes as Chihiro cuts down Hirohiko.
Yeah.
This is where Toto pops up. We knew she was like chilling, looming. Kaguri is still up on the roof, by the way. So there's what, 3 Hishaku members and 3 3 enchanted blades on that rooftop. That's a very like important like area within the timeline of Kagurabachi in terms of like players.
Yeah. I mean, fuck his Kaguri, bro. Did he get lost on the way or
Yeah, is he getting no diffed by like the other Masumi dude, the big guy? Because I think he's fighting.
It's Shiba. Shiba off-screened him.
Yeah, Shiba. Yeah, where that motherfucker at? This is where we need you, Shiba. Fucking throw the Batman signal in the sky for his ass.
Dude,
like,
I was so happy
Ikura
to see,
popped up. Where the fuck is Shiba?
Fucking Ikura with his cosplaying ass pulled up before
Yeah. Ridiculous, man. But Hirohiko, like that dude, I like Hirohiko here because he's telling like Toto, like, he's like, get my gat, get my gun. He's like, grab my weapon of mass destruction, please. And because he knows Chihiro.
He reached for the backpack.
Yeah, bro, he went straight to pop the trunk on him.
Nah, I'm dead, bro. I'm dead.
He knows Chihiro.
They're equals.
Yeah, and it parallels them so well. Like, if you say his bullshit Hirohiko like survived, I would argue Chihiro's eyes was the reason he leveled up enough to cut him down. But Hirohiko's innate gift, his like ability to survive, is what like lent him the plot armor to survive that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's cool when Chihiro's like back to back with Yori in that panel. You can see Chihiro's eyes looking back.
So cold, bro. That panel's so cold. I got hyped, bro.
Hirohiko knows, like, oh, well, she's awakened now. You could tell because look at the move she's doing. Like, with all the situation, he's like, he's going to pull out his fucking enchanted blade. Give me mine. And what does Chihiro do? Honors her respects, and he pops the trunk, too.
Yeah, I love, like, I hadn't really thought about it until you brought it up now. But it is true. Because, like, not only does, like, Hirohiko know like what Chihiro's thinking, it's because he probably knows they're thinking the same thing. And to me, that's been set up already. Like we saw a couple of chapters ago how they were so emphasized to be like on par with each other as rivals, and as competitors and students of the game, let's call it. So yeah, I also thought like I'm really digging this Yori Chihiro pairing like more and more. Not necessarily like romantically. I mean, I don't care about that. That would be cool too, sure, whatever. But in terms of like as a duo, like, oh man, just seeing them fight is so cold. The fact that like the whole like, theme behind like her closing her eyes, like she learned to, to fight as a kid, and how that relates to like, what you've brought up with Samura in terms of like witnessing the blood and kind of like the kind of the ugly side,
the trauma of killing.
Exactly.
So, like what it actually looks like to kill somebody, and like that realization that you just ended a life, and right in front of your face is kind of hard, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and just it looks like it's gonna be a really fun dynamic between the two, like in terms of like a balance of character. Like I would love to see them as duo going forward in terms of like what they can offer to each other's characters. Because it really looks like they're going to complement each other well. Or like they, like hypothetically, they would.
You could kind of lend Yori to being like a side of Chihiro that Chihiro never got to experience, which is not killing.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
I think it's good for him to have this like positive influence in his group going forward. But knowing Hokuzono, he's going to have her kill somebody, and we're going to see her deal with that adversity.
Almost certainly, right?
Yeah, but I do think she's going to make it through this. But I just love Chihiro so much, man. He's my favorite character. Chihiro is special to me, man. Like, he's so consistent and he's logical. Like, it makes sense for him to pull his enchanted blade here. Like, don't get me wrong. He's aware of the possibilities of how it can go wrong. And being aware of that, he still honors Iori's like feelings and her resolve. It's a parental thing too, by the way. This is another arc of him, or another part of the story where we can make the connection of like a toxic family bond, and Chihiro is like trying to remedy that for people.
What a Chad.
He remedies it. Like Hakuri's answer for that was to like slay his father, and he acknowledged that and he did that. Her answer was to meet her father. She wants to find out the memories. He's following, her will.
Yeah. Because
it's what he wants for himself. I think he would love to see them two to be able to have a connection with each other and be with each other. because that's what he wants. He wants his dad back, but they took it from him.
Yeah, it's interesting what his like plan might be, and because what you just said, it has me thinking like he must have something. Like, yeah, he's just honoring Yori's wishes, but it's Chihiro. He's definitely got to have in plan. Yeah, he knows Samura's pulling up, and he's not just gonna be like, oh, your daughter wants to see you, man. Like, no, he's got a plan in mind.
Chihiro might be like aware that Hirohiko will help him. Like your theory that you said that they'll team up.
Bingo.
He might be like, oh, I can get Hirohiko's help with like the chaos of a 3-way. Like Samura's not gonna be able to just pop up and no diff both of us.
Bingo. I was gonna, yeah, no, man, you took the words right out of my mouth, because I was gonna lead into that. That's what I think Chihiro's plan is, and yeah, I called it a couple of episodes ago. I mean, we don't have confirmation, right? Hokazono could be just baiting us for all we know, but I would be inclined to believe that we're gonna get a very reluctant 2v1. In terms of Chihiro and Hirohiko teaming up with Samura. And once again, I would think that that's Chihiro's plan. And I would love to see that, man. I just think it's just a good opportunity to once again say more in regards to these characters, especially like Hirohiko and Chihiro's dynamic. Like we've talked a lot, about like seeing their relationship and their arcs as characters develop throughout the series, and seeing them grow as sorcerers and fighters. And so, we don't know what's going to happen with this fight with Samura if it goes down like we're talking. But yeah, that's what I would want to see next, in terms of the next couple of chapters, in terms of how this chapter kind of finishes. Yeah, man, I want that 2v1. Yeah.
This could be a scenario. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. Bro.
No, you're good.
Or it could be a scenario where Chihiro knows that he's not playing a game. He's not playing with people's feelings or nothing like that. But Yori is standing next to Chihiro.
Mm-hmm.
Samura. What if Samura tries to attack Chihiro first and Yori blocks him? Where he holds back, because he notices Yori's like getting in the way. So like she kind of just blocks him, even though he was, holding back. And that's what causes like maybe Hirohiko to backshot him. But it is interesting we have 4 people or 5 people. Oh, excuse me, 4 people that uses the AI white purity style. Like on that roof. Like that bitch, that style, if they all died here, obviously they wouldn't. That means that style is dead.
Interesting. I hadn't even thought of that.
I mean, I don't think that the Reagan sword style is dead at this point too, but we don't give a fuck about that. that hotel got to come down. The Rakuzachi came down. We need that building destroyed.
I totally forgot about that dude, bro. Fucking fodder.
The art. I mean, the last couple pages is just fucking immaculate. Like the style, the like tension, like the reveal.
I mean, look, we haven't.
Yeah.
You didn't mention Samura coming down with the
it's like
wings,
angelic,
like archangel.
But
like
yes, it's angel of death.
Yeah, precisely. No, it's like a very nice duality in how he's coming down, because he does look like ethereal in terms of how high he is, and the whole angle, almost like a first person kind of angle. I love it. Like you said, like
we're looking up at him. He's above us.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, exactly. But then the wings are so like, just like you said, just giving like full like dark and death vibes. And I mean, what is it, like ray or like ravens or crows feathers? So yeah, man, it's just very nice.
May's husband, right there.
More of an aura farmer, though. I mean, she does her aura farming as well.
Oh yeah, but his aura farming, I don't think I've seen aura farming to this level in a long time. Jeez, like maybe Jin Woo, but like this guy, like get out of here with your big ass wings. Like who?
Yeah, bro.
He's like
unnecessary.
He's flexing for his daughter. He's like,
on
man,
kids.
Yeah, he's like, I ain't seen her in forever. Let me show her what I can do. Look, hey, are you winning? Are you winning, son? Type energy.
Nobody's over 18 on that roof, bro. Like what?
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
maybe what
Kaguri.
Chihiro's 18, right?
Oh well, the
But, yeah.
Masumi. It's the Masumi, and yeah, he's like, even though he like got his old homies there, he's got some Hishaku. He's like, let me just make a
He's
strong
flexing.
presence.
He's stunting. Yeah, he's stunting. Yeah, for real. Yeah, for sure.
Female Masumi, her Sumi. Maybe he's trying to take my
Imagine
girl. I ain't gonna stand for that, you blind bastard. You got 2 chapters
you're
left.
cooked, bro. That's
Yeah.
funny, man. This was a good chapter.
I mean, yeah, it's great, and the art is just phenomenal. Like, there's enough narrative like weight to the chapter where it all like feels like we're getting the resolution coming. We see Chihiro's bubbles. Oh man,
Yeah,
it's blowing up on Twitter, and for good reason. This man
for sure.
deserves the credit. Uh, like I'm spinning on it for Hokuzono once again,
Crazy.
but that's the truth, man. It's just like it's hard to like. It's almost like trying to find errors in the story because it's just so solid week to week. Like it's really hard because even the slow chapters feel like rewarding.
Yeah, no, he deserves credit in how he's been able to like develop the story at a very healthy pace. I feel like, because like you said, even like some of the slower chapters, like I've thought some of the slower chapters have been some of the better written ones as well. And even like some of the chapters that I've had like issues with, like Hokuzono has been able to like be like, just let me cook, and
Yeah, remedy any like worries.
yeah, and what you're saying, I think, is a very good like implementation of like once again healthy pacing. He's been able to, drip like feed like a drip feed this information as he kind of keeps things going within the story itself, and like it never feels like the story kind of comes to a halt. It never feels like we're lost, at least personally. Yeah, I've had some issues with how some reveals have been handled, but kind of like you said, like taking everything as it kind of comes, or like as the story presents itself. I have no complaints really, man. And yeah, you can tell he really just went off in those final 2 double spreads, or the last 4 pages of the chapter, because the Yori and Chihiro back to back panel is nice, is a good one. Like I said, it got me hype when I was reading it. But just how he just goes absolutely insane with Hirohiko and Chihiro pulling out the enchanted blades, and then we see the sky without Samura. We like cut,
and then cut to like Yuri's
yes,
eyes.
bro.
I love
Yes,
that
bro.
panel.
Yeah, and then we get like the double spread with Samura pulling out his enchanted blade and then just falling from the sky is like, bro, chef's kiss. Like, yeah, like you said it perfectly. It's just he's cooking, man, and he deserves all the credit. It's not spinning on it when the credit is well deserved.
Oh no, I'm spinning on it.
Okay, okay.
I say mid rotation. Pause. Let me stop. No, I do like the feathers, like the perspective of the feathers coming down, and then we have like the feathers around Iori, but then we get that one that's like in front of her, and then like over the panels.
Yeah, dude, no.
I'm also interested to see like we see Chihiro's bubbles, we see like Samura's feathers. I want to where's Hirohiko's 2 dolls or little things. I want to see what those can do. I'm excited to see what the Kumiyuri's powers are.
They off camera,
Yeah, just,
no, I hear you.
The 2 baddies getting ready. But I want to see what they
Yeah,
do, like what
I hear you.
powers, because like look at Samura, like Chihiro's like enchanted sword is kind of like power wise lackluster in terms of what we've seen, like a lightning dragon. This dude's coming down, from the heavens. It looks like. I want to see what Kumiyuri's capable of.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure.
By the way, I like Inten's powers. By the way, I'm not saying that. I want to see, because I do want to see what connecting to the true realm with Inten means to Chihiro and how that evolves his
Just
power.
a bunch of goldfish.
Yeah, it's just an aquarium finding Nemo, finding Chihiro.
Yeah, no, but I hear you. I'm
But I
playing
mean,
around.
like but you do like the big attacks though, like
It's just a bigger goldfish.
like Samura at the temple, bigger goldfish. Yeah, it's like Jaws, but goldfish.
No, I hear you. I'm playing around. But yeah.
No, like that ass. I want to see like what, like all the powers have like something crazy. Like it gives them like this crazy, like out of this like human realm of like power wise. Like having wings and like teleporting or creating a owl in the sky that everyone can see, and it's like for that he could like keep an eye on everything. What like Chihiro so far has just been replicate other swords powers, big slash, a lot of small fast slashes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna say now. It is kind of interesting. We talked a lot about Aura. It is funny how Chihiro's a big Aura farmer. Like we know that as well, right? But it's almost it is kind of funny the fact that when it comes to like the manifestation of, like you said, the spirit energy and the power of the blade, he's the one that is kind of like lacking behind. Because like you said, we saw dragons, we seen jellyfish, we seen like owls and fucking wings, and even I think what is it? What Hiko did was, I think, a little bit. We saw him fucking pull out like the spirits.
He has two like flying spirits coming.
What I was gonna say, I think with Chihiro, what we've seen is a more practical kind of use, because we know that what he's been able to do is fucking insane. Like the slashing attacks, him replicating flame bone, like he's gone insane.
Yeah, he uses it beautifully.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It just hasn't been over the top. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's almost like he's been more practical in his use, which is funny because he's a huge Aura farmer. It almost makes me think that...
You know what I think it is?
What is it? Let me see if this is what I'm thinking. Go ahead.
No, you go. No, you go first. You go first.
I was just going to say, like, it makes me wonder if that's intentional by Hokuzono, where, like, that's the way it is, and he's doing it intentionally, and there's not going to be any sort of like subversion of that, or he's holding out for some big spectacle towards the end of the story, or later on. It doesn't have to be towards the end, but he's probably holding out on it where like I said, big goldfish. No, but just something, he might be holding off on something pretty crazy. I don't know, right?
I think his synchronization with N10, I think is like, it could speak to Chihiro. Maybe Chihiro isn't as resolved, or he thinks he is. Maybe he still has doubts about like he's the more realization of what things happen. Like maybe he's always felt like there was something wrong, or there isn't something right about all this. You know what I mean? Because he's always been a pretty smart kid, it seemed like.
Yeah.
And maybe Chihiro, deep down in his heart, he's holding back.
I love that.
And like he's stopping himself. And it's about his realization that, like, as he goes through all these stories, meeting these different people, he still has his true, like, he's reconfirming what he feels. And maybe as that goes and he reaches his final, like, answer to what, like, what's the justice or what's the right thing to do, that comes into, like, the final battle of him getting the full scale power of N10. And we do see big goldfish, or and maybe it's like him having a conversation with his dad.
Oh, that would be
in the true realm.
What I love,
and that bro, that gave me him just being as a man now, facing everything he faced today, and he's like, what was your thought process? How'd you feel when you got all the swords back? And Kunishige might just tell him, I want to talk about you, not the sword.
Like he asked him, like, have you been able to see the world through your own eyes? Like he said he would have to do. Like,
yeah, he's like, he doesn't want to talk about the swords. He's like, that was a mistake or whatever. But he's like, I care about you. I want to talk about you. Like, and that just makes him realize, like, this is what I, wish I had the rest of my life. I'm resolved as ever now. I have to stop this. And I think he will get rid of the swords.
Yeah.
Like I think it's gonna come down to the swords not meaning very much at the end of the story in terms of Chihiro. Like he's not gonna value the swords anymore because he got them back or whatever. and it's more about like his journey of getting the swords back made him realize like,
Yeah.
you know, what's important in life, you know, and
Yeah, no, I like that.
like, and Yori does play to that, you know, like someone who hasn't killed, someone whose hands aren't tainted.
Facts.
Damn, bro, I was cooking.
No, yeah, and what I really like about what you said a bit earlier is the fact that him having like a bit of doubt that like we have really seen, like we could read into it like you said a little bit, and like I could see that. I can see that. I think there's enough like subtly that I could see that, and I think it plays really well with the eventual reveal or realization regarding the Satan War. I think him like having doubts that we're just not really seeing, like him having like an interior conflict that we're not privy to right now, would I think really work, you know, hand in hand with when that reveal takes place. Because I've always wanted to see Chihiro like reach a point where like it really like shakes him to the core, and you see the true value of Chihiro. What?
It tests him.
Yeah, test him. Yeah, precisely. Yes, you're right. Exactly. I want to see Chihiro like really test it. I mean, we've seen him tested, but I really want to see him like, you know, being dragged through the mud. And I would love to see like what you said later on as well. Like we see him like emphasizing so much on his mission regarding the enchanted blades that his attention might be a bit misplaced, right? And I wouldn't be able to say right now as of why exactly, but yeah, just let's let Hokazono cook for real, for sure, because I do think that he has a lot in store that we're not seeing right now. And you know, we're pretty much in the theories section of the episode already. Is there anything you want to kind of, I know I'll fast fire what I got. Is there anything you want to say beforehand?
No, I kind of dropped a couple theories throughout. You know, I can't help myself. I apologize. I just want to, you know, got to do the usual countdown. You got 2 chapters, Samura. You're on the scene. You're here. Next chapter, we gonna have fighting, and the chapter after that, your resolution. Your the conclusion to Samura. Oh yeah, and Samura still, not Samura, excuse me. Chihiro still hasn't came to like learn that the 200,000 casualty thing yet.
Yeah, no, there's still a lot that we have.
Yeah, we as readers know, but he don't know. So I want to see what his reaction to that, because that might be the test.
And you see, and maybe like last thought regarding this, maybe that's why, because you know we talked about how I would have liked to see that Sete War reveal handled a bit differently. I remember somebody in the comments, I think it was Loud, I might be wrong, mentioned how the fact that we know before Chihiro kind of lends itself for us kind of like looking forward to that reveal. And I hadn't thought of that. And I thought that was, you know, I thought that was true. It's accurate because it just is, right? And I can see that starting to kick in right now. Like I recognized what he said was true, but I didn't personally feel that way. And now I'm starting to get that feeling where I'm like looking forward to that reveal because I know it, but we know that Chihiro doesn't. And so, you know, maybe that was Hokazono's plan all along. So once again, let him cook, man. Let him cook. I just a quick fire my theories here. What I was going to mention earlier regarding the true realm is this is not really much of a theory, but just more like raising a question of what the true realm could look like for Shikoku natives, considering they have a higher, what is it, like resistance to Datanseki. We know they're there, right? Like they have that innate connection to it. So does the true realm look different for Shikoku natives? Does that have something to do with Yura's plan, you know? And then kind of more or less along that same line is like, could the eyes, you know, we've talked about Yura's eyes. I think Hirohiko has like really similar eyes, the sword master. Could that, and I'm sure this has been thrown around on the community, like within the community, could this just be like a result of like, what is like exposure, too much exposure to Datanseki, too much influence from Datanseki? Once again, if Yura and Hirohiko are Shikoku natives, maybe that explains why they're quote unquote sane, like they're not just unhinged, like, you know, like unable to control themselves. Whereas if the sword master, you know, he's a normal, you know, Japanese man, he's kind of like completely, you know, taken over by maybe the Shinichi and the exposure to the excess of Datanseki in Shikoku. Once again, not necessarily like full-fledged theories, but more like questions I wanted to raise that lend itself directly to some theories.
Yeah, no, those are interesting too. Like I also played. There's a lot of seals, like that they're talking about here. The seal edition, just like throughout the story, a lot of seals. Wonder, what if Chihiro has his memory played with?
Oh man, that would be crazy.
It'd be an easy thing that can make sense in the universe for Hokuzono to kind of twist things at whatever moment and be like, no, Chihiro, that's not what your dad is the sword master, something crazy or like that. Like, not saying that's what it is, but that's gonna be one thing. Just like a fun what if. I don't think it's got much to lend much credence to it or anything, but
no, it's interesting because I could also see a scenario, and once again, I also don't think this is what's gonna happen, but I could see it if maybe Chihiro at one point already knew the truth, and so that was sealed from him, and so when we see that again, it's more like of a flashback, maybe. Yeah, man, I could see that. That isn't too far out.
The Swordmaster being Kunishige's right-hand man, we need to see what that I want to see that dynamic. If that's his right-hand man.
Sorry. Go ahead. I can't help myself. Go ahead.
No. If that's his right-hand man, he has to know something, because Chihiro was born right after the war. We don't know when they went to go get him. I don't know if they stated that. Maybe they did. But there might have been a bit of time where Kunishige got in contact with him to try and stop him.
Mm-hmm.
Kunishige told him, I'm expecting to have a son soon, or I just want to see what Kunishige and Swordmaster's dynamic was. Was he really just always clicked out, and Kunishige just had a rough past or something, or because Kunishige personally chose all these swordsmen.
We don't know the Swordmaster. Yeah, imagine it's something crazy. How we've talked about or I've brought up how Yura could be related to Chihiro. Imagine going playing into your seal theory. Imagine if the Master Swordsman is just Kunishige's brother. To me, that would make sense because we've talked a couple of episodes ago how we've seen interactions between Azami, Shiba, and Kunishige. We know they kind of have a college type of friendship type of thing going on. And I always brought up how does the Swordmaster fit into that, being so tight with Kunishige according to what we've been told? Could it be that it's it's him, the one that's related to Kunishige, making him Chihiro's uncle or whatever? I mean, even if he wasn't directly related, there is still that sort of relationship if he was really Kunishige's friend. But you really got me thinking with seals, because Hokuzono seems to just be using seals like Gege was using binding vows. Let me not get too crazy, but
what if Shiba's related to the Swordmaster and his hair just changed from being tainted by the Shinoichi, and that's Shiba's get back. Shiba was the snitch, and that's why he didn't show up in time.
Yeah, man. I could also see something like that.
And then Shiba turns evil, and then he wants to break his brother out of jail or whatever.
Jesus,
this is a crazy ass headcanon. I don't have no.
Well, this is theories portion of the episode.
I think we should wind it down before I start talking about Chihiro in space. Some crazy shit. See, I always like to lend myself to any theories that have some bit of possibility. Just because it's fun headcanon, it's cool to theorize, and as content creators, that's how you come up with ideas what if scenarios or theory videos.
Yeah.
You can't just deny anything that seems sure, it seems implausible now, but it just takes one chapter to change everything.
Yeah, facts.
But I think we close out here. Dice, any closing thoughts or?
No, man, I think that's all for me. I think Hokuzono, you can really tell he just decided to go crazy towards the end of this chapter, and it just feels like this. I mean, every chapter is obviously there's definitely a bar of quality already set where this is just a really consistently good series week to week. It's very rare to see like a dip in quality if there's been any really, for the most part. But this chapter in particular, considering how much is revealed and how those reveals are handled in particular, just maybe this is like a personal thing, but it feels like it was really crafted with like care. Like this feels like a really handcrafted chapter, even when comparing it to like something like the Seitei War reveal chapter that I kind of had some issues with. Obviously two different chapters in nature, but ultimately I really, really enjoyed this chapter as a whole.
10 out of
really,
10.
really did. Yeah, one of my favorite chapters, honestly, if I have to say.
I think
like, I don't have like a off the top of my head
like
chapter list, but
yeah, I think like this arc, and when I say this arc, I mean just the hotel portion. I don't mean the whole sword bearer, like the temple. This part like has like 3 of like the top 7 best chapters in the series for me, probably. And
I think that's very
this
very
hotel, like Chihiro's like resolve chapter with him like saying, no, I want this, these memories. I wouldn't trade it for shit. I love that chapter. Yori's like the Shikoku reveal and all that. Like then this like and then it makes me think like, man, was Rakuzachi that good? And Rakuzachi arc was great. Like that's the thing. It's like good. It's like a really good arc with Sojo. Great with the Rakuzachi. It was just a good arc at the temple for me. Great at the hotel. It's like just consistently like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, maybe even like increasingly like better. Like, that's kind of redundant, but just getting better. Yeah, week to week.
But that'll do it for us. I'll start rambling, and we're already been going on for a while.
And we both spinning on it.
Oh my god, the duo spin. Oh my goodness, tag team and Hokuzono is crazy. All right.
We're gonna do Hokuzono like Hirohiko and Chihiro.
We're gonna end on that one. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.